Brr, it's a cold open. But don't worry, things are going to heat up because we're going to play Dynasty Tinder today on the Dynasty Six Pack. Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 20 of the Dynasty Six Pack. I'm one of your hosts, Kyle Senra, and in his glorious return after just a 1 week absence, we did miss you though, however, so glad to have you back, Rahul Natarajan. How are you doing, Rahul?
Kyle, good. Glad to be back. Good to see you. Good to see you, Jamie. I did have a bye last week. It was my second bye of the season, which is not very common. But glad to hear 20 episodes. Actually, no, I might have missed two in the first break earlier on. But regardless, back and excited to get in a Dynasty Tinder tonight. I think a lot of great topics we have to talk about.
I was going to say, to be fair, I'm a CFL fan. Teams have multiple weeks. Like there's a bye week one, because there's 9 teams in the league, so there's always a bye week every week. So I think teams get 3 bye weeks through the season. So we're going with CFL rules, at least for this, Rahul. But
very true.
Someone who knows all about the CFL because he is Canadian, I'm sure watches every game like I do every week. Jamie Perog, did you enjoy the CFL slate last week?
No, not yet. I'm gonna wait till Shador Sanders goes into the season next year as one of the starting quarterbacks. But yeah, dude, this is like welcome. This is Dynasty Tinder, dude. This is exciting, man. I don't know if anyone's done this before. I've looked it up, and the only time it showed up was our logo when I looked it up. So this might be a first.
Did you look up like, fantasy football Tinder or Dynasty Tinder?
Both. And this is the only one that showed up.
There's only one instance I know of, and it's John Hogue on the Superflex Super Show. They call what he calls Tinderflex. So,
okay. So what we're gonna do this today is we're gonna separate the long-term soulmates from those short-term flings, right? Some players, they're built for long-term relationships. Others, they're just here for a good time, right? Like once they've served their purpose, it's time to swipe left and move on. So we're going to be exposing the red flags, and we're going to be finding the true ride or die assets for your squad. So let's get into it.
What an amazing description, Jamie. Let everyone know what Dynasty Tinder is, and we'll get into the details as we get to the game. But to start, welcome, everyone. And that's Albert joining us, saying hello, everyone. We've also got Dion, fantasy football around the corner. Woo. Well, right. You're on Dynasty Six Pack. I mean, it's year-round when it's the Dynasty game. But yes, certainly the fantasy football redraft season, as Rahul loves so much, is here. We'll be... last week we talked all about a redraft league, even though that's Rahul's favorite format, and we waited until he was gone to talk about it. That's what he gets for choosing redraft on the Dynasty show. But Scott Fishbowl will update that in a little bit. But if you want to interact, like Albert and Dion have, head over to the Fantasy Six Pack YouTube page. We also stream it on the Facebook page as well. You can interact with us there. We're live every Wednesday night at 9:30 p.m. Eastern time.
Throw your questions in the chat. We're happy to answer anything you have.
For sure. Subscribe anywhere you are, if you're on YouTube or if you're just listening to the audio podcast. Appreciate that. Also, check out fantasy6pack.com. A lot of good articles for free. I write quite a few articles, especially a lot of redraft stuff coming up. But there are different perks. There's the all-access membership that gets you some premium content. And right now, Joe Bond, the great founder and creator of Fantasy Six Pack, has a great discount on for that all-access membership. Promo code is F6P Pods. I want to get to the P right away because there's 2 there. F6P PODS. All letters capitalized, and it's the number 6, the Roman numeral 6. Don't put VI. I said Roman numerals. I meant the Arabic numeral 6. Don't put Roman numerals. F6P Pods. Again, that's a discount for the all access membership. There's also a Fantasy Six Pack promotion right now with Fan Tracks going all the way through to the start of the NFL season. So for more details on that, check out fantrax.com/fantasy6pack. Apparently, Jamie's already getting to the action of the swipe left, swipe right. We haven't even started Tinder Flex yet. This is how excited Jamie is. So he's swiping right on the stud at the bottom of the screen. So,
hey, let's hook up.
You know what? I don't even want to know what that entails. Let's talk about the Scott Fishbowl. It's something wholesome. It's a charity league, as we explained on each episode. So nothing could possibly go wrong here, and everything went wrong. It's all gone well, actually. And for some people, their draft is all done and completed. So we're going to take a look at all three of our teams. Jamie and I, our drafts are still going, but Rahul, you didn't really get to talk about your team since you weren't here last week. So now you get the chance. You can go through your team build if you want here as we see.
Wow. Yeah. Here's the team. I understand I don't know, Kyle, if your draft is completed or not, but I understand at least one of the three of our drafts are still going on, which is funny as we were talking about, because mine took the longest to even get my first pick made. But just initial thoughts, like looking especially on this lovely what is it, Fantasy Life Scott Fishbowl breakdown. It's a lot less blue than I probably went in aiming to get. Blue meaning running backs on the team. And I think just at various points of the draft, I went towards the value of the other positions as early as Jaden Daniels at 209. I think, Kyle, I don't know what it currently is, but at least when I drafted it might have been the latest or joint latest that Daniels had gone in a draft. Tyreek Hill, I felt was a value. Maybe, if our draft is before the Jonnu Smith trade, I don't know if I'd have touched Tyreek Hill where I did, because that 5-6 range I'm a little bit conflicted about how I did, but Tyreek Hill post Jonnu Smith, Caleb Johnson I chose over the likes of, James maybe Connor had gone, but Aaron Jones. There were a lot of veteran running backs on the board, so maybe I would change how I went there, but I feel like I just try to get value and then later on just hammer the handcuff running backs where I could. In the end, pretty happy with how it's gone. There might have been a few wasted picks, but I'm excited to hear what you guys think about this team.
Well, first off, on the Jaden Daniels question, he went as early as 101. Someone took him at the 101. Someone named Louis, and someone named Lucas took him at the 212. So
okay,
close to the latest, but that is amazing value because Jamie, I know Daniels went in the first round of my draft. Was it the same for you?
Yeah, he went in right before me, like 2 picks before me at the 105.
And
wow. Okay.
The one conclusion.
Yeah, I would have looked at him at like the 111, 112, beginning of the second round. 209. That's freaking unbelievable value. I guarantee you tell me who was around him, I would be like, dude, Jaden Daniels is a steal there.
Well, first off, I'm going to guess there's not a lot of Gibbs Daniels teams in this. So like that gives you sets you apart right off the bat. So I'd say good for that, just to take that type of value if that's available in the second round, because you're not going to get, you might be the only Gibbs Daniels team in the entire competition.
Like imagine if it was like a Barkley Daniels. Was Barkley gone?
Barkley went at 103. Yeah. I think our draft started with 7 running backs, including Bucky Irving at the 107. It started with 7 running backs, so obviously contributed why Jaden Daniels fell a little bit more. I think maybe 12 running backs are off the board. There, all the wide receivers went off the board, such as the Jefferson, Lamb, obviously Chase, but Puka went ahead of Daniels. So it was kind of interesting. I did try to play the value where I could, and probably took a bunch of players that the wide receiver room on its own feels a little bit gross, but I guess the values make it a little bit more palatable. And especially to then go with Jordan Love as late as the 10:04. I think that getting that second quarterback where I did, I believe it is a 6-point passing touchdown league still. So I think quarterback went well, even though I kind of went in not expecting to target the position, and I guess the way that I did.
Yeah, so second round and then 10th round for your 2. I mean, that's probably good value on both, to be honest.
Yeah.
Before we go any further, Dion Wallard has a question for us here. So it says they drafted Kelsey and thinking about grouping someone to try and pick up McBride. So in a trade, it seems. So post-draft trade.
Dynasty or redraft?
Yeah, I'm guessing redraft by the comment earlier of fantasy football around the corner.
Oh, okay.
So, but yeah, let us know, Dion, any other details on the league, like if you can, there's those scoring settings, how many starters, and if you have any, like I think just in general principle, I think that's a great thing to try and do. Now, if you let us know like what players you're thinking of grouping with Kelsey, I guess like it's funny because I was just thinking about this for a different context. Or, actually, you know what, Dion, stick around because in Dynasty Tinder, I am going to talk about this exact phenomenon with McBride to a certain extent, but all to say he might be really tough to trade for, quasi impossible, and it might not even be value. The people who have McBride and Bowers might just not be willing to let them go. Like they're just we're set. There's nothing you can do to make me want to trade them. So that like just be ready for that possibility. But I certainly think you should at least try it, right, guys?
So I think if you drafted Kelsey, you got him at a discount, probably tight end 8 to 10, right? McBride obviously going number 2 early, but you're gonna have to give up your wide receiver 2 and Kelsey just to get McBride alone in a redraft. I'm willing to take the bet that Kelsey steps up, gets back to what he used to be because he's focusing more on football and less on his boyfriend, Taylor Swift. And he becomes a top 5. And there's not much of a difference between tight end 3 to tight end 5, right?
I feel like I oscillated like in that statement, but where you ended on, I think is right. I think Kelsey this year, I think there's a huge cliff after the top 3 tight ends, perhaps. So Kelsey on his own, great value. I also did want to say, I don't know if Dion's added more, details, but in any league, really, you'd want to really try to trade Kelsey for McBride. We need to know what the price is. That's a pretty sizable gap that JB's probably like. You probably have to give up your wide receiver 2 in addition to Kelsey to move up to McBride. So at that point, why not keep those pieces?
I think like the way Dion's posing this, thinking about grouping someone, like not even sure who it is yet. So this is more, is it even worth trying essentially, or should they try? Right? I think that's kind of right now.
Because if it's redraft, you drafted your team for a reason. Don't dismantle it.
For some reason on July or before July 15th, but
yeah, you could wait until August 29th or September 7th. That's my birthday, and then figure it out from there. But you still got
that's after the season starts. I think the season starts on like the 4th or 5th this year. But yeah, I mean, yeah, timing wise too, right? There's a risk. I would say to Jamie's point, like give up your wide receiver 2 and Kelsey to get just to upgrade what we think is an upgrade at tight end. It would be worth it if whoever is the first wide receiver on the bench, you think there's not much of a difference between your wide receiver 2 and that receiver. Like if you think you got a good steal on your 4th or 5th receiver and you can reasonably just plug them into the lineup and you don't lose too much, that's probably worth it. But that's got to be like specific team construction. So you don't want to be trading like that extra piece. You don't want it to be a position where you're already thin, for instance.
Yeah, so like if that team that drafted McBride went running back, tight end, like
yeah, if they need receiver, like look to their needs. If you're set at both position, like what's the one position that they could use as an upgrade that would make them want to downgrade a tight end?
So I want to get back to this team on the screen because this is looking sexy. I kind of want to swipe right on this team.
Okay, Dynasty Tinder's already started apparently.
Like
I like the 8-month contract.
Like I love the value you got on Kittle because I was looking at Kittle in the 3rd round and you got him in the 4th. Like my goodness.
Yeah. I think I think we talked about. I said the same thing, but I feel like could have the chance of getting top scorer at each position in Gibbs, Daniels, Kittle, and Tyreek. If all breaks right in the end, it's still a large field final. I'm not sure. Maybe like a 200 person final. So aim for the ceiling, have a little fun. Got some players that probably wouldn't have too big of bags later on, but
even the Calvin Ridley pick, you got him at 909, right?
Yeah.
I took him in the 8th because I'm not letting this guy pass me because this is volume based scoring. You want volume in the scoring.
Exactly.
Easily lead the team in targets. Same with Metcalf, right? Like both of those guys, I think we say, are easily leading their team in targets and catches.
I do see why you took Metcalf over Ridley. I kind of have them similar. Evans, I mean, big play, touchdowns. You're going to get the first down point when you score a touchdown because it's going to be over 10 yards.
Not on Sleeper, actually. Sleeper does not do
I never knew
first
that.
down.
I played on Sleeper for years with first down points. I assumed it was a given because the NFL officially counts touchdowns as first down. So I just assumed every fantasy site would automatically do it.
I'm in leagues where we get first downs for touchdowns.
Well, at least Sleeper doesn't do it by default, but yeah, NFL leagues, that's true.
I don't understand how that makes sense because like by default scoring, like the list that they'd be getting fed for their stats, they would have the first down counted. Like I don't understand how Sleeper wouldn't do that. It just doesn't make any sense to me because officially that's how the NFL counts them. I know Yahoo does it because that's where I first started playing first down point leagues. I swear Sleeper does. Like I refuse to believe that they don't count first down points because it mathematically doesn't make any sense. But it's Sleeper, so that makes sense that it wouldn't make sense because I could see where they'd only count it on the app and not the mobile desktop version. Like I could see them having some stupid difference like that because it's Sleeper. But they would be the league, the site that doesn't count first down points.
In Sleeper's defense, and as someone who joined the football party late, I really like that 6 points is the fantasy score and the real life score for a touchdown. So I guess at the end of the day, if you have the kick on, then 7 makes maybe a little more sense for someone who doesn't really follow ball. But 6 is sounds.
But they don't actually have the touchdown isn't like the touchdown itself only counts as 6 in the NFL.
It's 6 points and it's 6 for your fantasy team. It makes a lot of sense.
Every other player makes 6, right? Yeah, I mean that Sleeper didn't invent that either. That's how
fancy. Yeah, I know.
We're not giving them too much credit, but we'll give you tons of credit here. Like Tyler Shuck as the third QB, and I'm thinking of going late for a third QB as well. And I was going to ask you guys, like, number of quarterbacks you're planning to roster. So you obviously went with 3. You kind of made it sound like you were going to run thin, so you were probably thinking going in 3 max, right, Rahul? Was this kind of what you were thinking for number of quarterbacks?
Absolutely max, and really the draft board does get pretty gross at 1909, and the fact that Tyler Shuck that I project as a starting quarterback for this year, getting him when I can get him at QB 35, it's like I'll take him at that point, right? And in my Scott Fishbowl history, the 2 years that I played before, somehow in both years, I ended up drafting quarterbacks with the same bye in each of those seasons. It was a week 14 bye both times, so that's like in the Scott Fishbowl playoffs as well. So maybe it's also a bit of a I cannot get in that situation again. So Tyler Shuck it was. Again, really wasn't my plan, but it's just kind of how the board fell in a lot of these places.
Yeah, I like the Shuck pick, especially that late, because it depends on how your board's also going. So in my situation, I took Shuck earlier in the 16th round.
Yeah.
Because I noticed there was no quarterbacks left. Russell Wilson went, and then 4 rounds later, Shuck fell to me. The only ones left were Daniel Jones and Jackson Dart, and they might not even start, right?
Oh, you're not going with Jackson Dart as like the best quarterback, Jamie?
Or that's Dynasty. We're talking redraft.
I know. I'm just
so I ended up taking Shuck in the 16th round, and I thought that was a value because the guy I was going to take over Shuck fell to me to my very next pick.
There you go. So you played the board well. Just judging on the fact that Daniels fell to the second round, I wonder if quarterbacks were falling a little more in your draft than the average Scott Fishbowl draft as
well. It was a little bit to the point where I was scanning the board and seeing how many teams needed a second quarterback, tearing my quarterbacks out. And I think when I took when I even took Metcalf at 804 is probably when I started considering okay, I kind of want to hit the Dak, Stroud, down to even Tua tier. And then none of those quarterbacks just went from 804 to 909. It's okay, I'll probably be fine pushing it a little bit more. So
were there any picks that were tough decisions and you felt like maybe I should have gone the other way? Because I know that definitely happened to me at least once. I'll get to that eventually.
Maybe not positionally, but really like two of the running backs in Mixon and Caleb Johnson. Like, I think there were alternatives at the board, and within positions, like, okay, like guys are in tiers. I don't really think I at every stage I feel like the position that I wanted to take came out, like, until maybe later with like Jake Ferguson, someone who we're gonna talk about a little more later tonight. It's like volume tight end. Like, I'll take that over like I think the very next pick after Ferguson was Zach Charbonnet, and then that might be like a ceiling based play, but that was Jake Ferguson's one where I was like, I'm gonna play the league scoring and get another start 11, start 12, get another like one of these flex spots sorted out. So
just Dion's kind of giving us some more information about his trade now. The top two receivers on the team: Tyreek Hill, Xavier Worthy. So we're willing to send one of those and Kelsey to get McBride. I'm probably not. I'm probably if it costs both Chiefs players, Kelsey and Worthy, to get McBride, I'm probably holding. But again, it all depends who's your first receiver on your bench, or
who's your wide receiver 3.
Yeah, like whichever receiver you're replacing Worthy in the lineup with, like, how much of a downgrade is that in points? And if it is too much, again, like, without, like, if you haven't engaged in trade talks yet and you don't know what the cost is, I'd at least venture to like get them to name a price so you could know what their price is on McBride. And same with Bowers. Like, if that's the like, at least shoot your shot to try, which I guess that's the whole point of Tinder, isn't it? I don't know. I've never been on. Yeah,
that's exactly the point of it.
Are you done with your team, Rahul? Was there anything else you wanted to talk about?
Excited for the season. I think that's pretty much there. I'm ready to get to. Is it yours or Jamie's next?
I'll go Jamie.
Well, don't you want to say the best for last? No, I'm joking.
Yeah, that's why I'm going your team.
Oh, burn.
My Tinder burn. All right, so it's funny because I wanted to do our teams kind of back to back, Jamie. Because we already talked about them last week. The start. Both of us started Saquon Barkley, Jonathan Taylor, and I think both of us started with several running backs to go. You went 4 straight to start: Barkley, Taylor, Kamara, Hubbard.
Yes.
Then the only other running back you drafted was Quinshon Judkins. So, do you think going into the draft, did you think by the 17th round you'd only have 5 running backs?
No. Well, I was playing the board and I was going off volume. So I saw the first 4 picks, got all the guys that are going to be number ones in their backfield. And then when it came to my T. Higgins pick, it was either Judkins, Swift, Pollard, Montgomery, right? Pacheco.
Take another running back or go
those guys
catching receiver. Yeah.
I didn't have those guys higher than T. Higgins. Because even though T. Higgins is the number 2 on his team, he's going to see more volume than splitting the backfield with like the Judkins, Swift, Pollard, Montgomery types, RJ Harvey even. So I went volume, and he could put up big, huge weeks. We seen last year, week 17, he had like a 60-point game. That could win me.
In this scoring format with the 2.5 points, is that
in this scoring format?
Okay.
So after that, I wanted to go with more volume. I wanted to get the number 1 or number 2 tight ends in their offense, which Kelsey, Ingram, they're obviously the first or second target. Ridley, obviously the number 1. Juwan Jennings with Ayuk hurt and a rookie behind him, or a second-year sophomore.
They stack Ridley to Ward, by the way.
Yes, that's the only reason I took Ward, is because quarterbacks were running thin at that time. So I was debating Ward or Love. And just because I have Ridley, I ended up going Ward over Love. After that, like, the next quarterbacks off the board were like Richardson and then Geno, which I got.
Yeah.
So I went in my 11th spot. I was going to take Geno, but I'm like, well, Let's see if I can push it. I pushed the board.
Get 11 starters, right? It's a start 11, so let's get 11 full starters and then worry about your third quarterback.
Yes, because I think Kupp is going to take over the slot role. They're going to put JSN more on the outside while they're splitting slot roles with Cooper. I know he's a dusty old Cooper Kupp. He's not the Triple Crown anymore that he used to be, but it's still Cooper Kupp. I think they're going to target him in that offense. And then, bam, I got Geno Smith to pair with him. And then from there, I was just going like Hunter Henry, man. Think about it. He is the only target in that offense that was on that team last year. And I got him.
Mario Douglas.
Oh, come on now.
Hey,
you really
Mario Douglas is earning 17.
In a managed league, do you really want to start DeMario Douglas on a weekly basis or even decide which week you're going to put him in? No,
that's a different question, though.
Well, yeah, because we're talking. I'm talking about like you're just saying who was on the team last year. I mean, he like 2 years in a row, Douglas has earned like I think 17% target share, including like I think it was 17.6 last year with Drake May, right? So like he's got a role with May, but I love the Henry pick. Like that's not to say.
So yeah, that's more of a best ball play with Douglas, but I want the consistency and the upside of like the 30 points to 20 points, at least half of the season. If you look at it,
3.5 points per reception, and I'm pretty sure. I think Henry led the team in targets last year, so he might not do it this year with all the additions, but still, I think he's got a role too. Like he clearly earned, I think, a 20% target share with May last year. So no, I like it, and
with Strange, I'm thinking, well, you look at the couple games that he played when Ingram was out last year, he did phenomenal. And I know they're bringing in like the rookie. We don't know Hunter's going to play how much on the offense, how much on the defense. What if he only plays 40, 50, 60% snaps on the offense? They're going to be looking to Strange and BTJ.
Well, I would say like Lawrence has shown, even in a year when, like, I think Ingram's first year in Jacksonville, he had like 98 targets. And there was like 250 targets combined between Christian Kirk and Zay Jones. So even as the third option in the offense, Ingram is shown to be viable. So even if Hunter gets a ton of targets, I still think Strange's breakout is going to happen this year. It's just,
I mean, he had like a mini breakout games last year.
Yeah, the full season breakout. Like he'll
yeah.
I think he can.
Well, I'm looking week 5, he had 22 points in the scoring format. Week 8, 23. And then you go down to the next time he played over 80% of snaps, it was 48 points when he played 82% of snaps.
So yeah, and another, I love the next tight end you took a few rounds later too, an athletic Canadian kid.
Theo Johnson, man. I mean, well, I took Shuck because, last tight end left, or last quarterback left, and I just wanted him on my bench just in case, maybe later in the season. But yeah, Theo Johnson, man. I was debating Juwan or Theo, and I ended up going Theo just because of that rat score.
Yeah, love
I
it.
want big spike weeks, right? And now he actually has a quarterback, as opposed to Juwan, who doesn't really have a quarterback. Shuck's going to be a game manager, right? We're not going to see those huge games out of Juwan Johnson.
Were you tempted by the stack at all just because you had to?
I really was, but I decided to play it smart and go with the higher upside guy in Theo Johnson. And I even asked Rahul. Rahul said the same thing. Go with Theo.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's who I was leaning on. So
to be fair, that's funny.
I've been watching a lot of Letterkenny lately. So
to be fair, I actually didn't know that you had taken Tyler Shuck, but at the same, when I thought about a few different mini stacks in this format, you still have to start. It's still a lineup league at the end of the day, so that kind of devalued the
stacking.
Yeah, exactly. It devalued a lower end stack compared to best ball. Yeah, exactly.
So I still have Ridley and Ward, right? I have Geno, and I'm going to take Thornton and a pick or two, maybe like 2 rounds later. So I still got some stacks, right? And then
now,
how am I going to lose without Theo Johnson? Like, he's not even going to hit my lineup.
Yeah.
No, I think it makes it. I think all those tight ends, like those bench tight ends you have, they all make sense as upside picks because at this point, with the 3.5 points per reception for tight ends, may as well fill the like as long as they're starting tight ends at this point, may as well keep drafting them like that.
Like 5 receptions is a more than usable game. Like as your last flex.
Push the quarterbacks, so I love it, JV. Like how you could just push the quarterback so far. You've got 3 starters, even though you didn't take one until the 10th round. So I think that masterclass for you in that regard of being able to fill out like all your starting depth and then get the quarterbacks and still feel good about them. I stroke of genius.
And I'm up at 2 picks. I can still take Juwan Johnson if I really want. Michael Wilson is available. He's an option. But there is someone, I'm not going to say it just in case Steve is watching. He's 1 pick ahead of me.
So I would say the Juwan Johnson principle kind of remains. Like he's a starting tight end. So the format dictates, that would also be a smart pick. And then again, you get the stack. And then it really makes it worth it going Theo Johnson if you were debating the 2.
Well, my next pick is it's going to be a safety pick because I have a running back that I want the backup to. And Steve has been taking the backups the past 2 picks, and I don't want him to steal it.
Yeah, he might. Yeah,
but I just want to say he is on Rahul's team, and Rahul, you took him a couple rounds earlier than what I'm.
So Steve will have to go back and rewatch, so he could give us extra views.
That would be great value, Jamie, if I have the right player in mind.
Now, questions. I think we covered the quarterback thing. Jamie, were there any picks where you feel like I might have made the wrong pick, like you were debating, deciding, and you weren't sure? Because it seems like they've worked out. Like when you talk about debating picks, you've managed to get guys around later anyway.
When I took Kelsey, I was debating him or Sutton. And I should have took Sutton, knowing that I was going to get Engram the next pick later. Like if I knew
you want both Denver receivers like that without Bo Nix, though?
Sutton's the number 1 on that team. So if I would have got Sutton and Engram,
I mean, you got the 2 locked in. Like that almost looks like the Rams. Like that'll be like 40%, 45% of the team's targets is those 2. So
it's also an ultra flex format, right? Like 1 tight end shouldn't preclude you from like another tight end, right? They're all the same.
If you believe in Kelsey, like we were talking about earlier, like I think it's a good pick, Jamie. So
I'm not hating
I think you might have gone.
I just really thought Sutton was going to fall back, but he didn't. So
Ingram's a good
consolation prize of Engram is fine.
Yeah,
I wouldn't have minded Sutton and Engram on the same team because they're going to be targets 1 and 2 on that team, and they're going to be throwing a hell of a lot.
All of it. So you play both of them every week, thinking that like they'll both get a lot of catches each week. Like one success isn't diminishing the other because you wouldn't want to draft a 3rd Broncos receiver because it feels like the weeks they spike is a down week from Ingram or Sutton, but they can probably both coexist different areas of the field together.
If JJ McCarthy fell to me where I took Engram, I probably would have took JJ McCarthy over Engram.
You see, I love taking Ward that many rounds later, and I'll get to why when I talk about my team. But back to Dion with this question: Jameson Williams and Jaden Reed as bench receivers.
Okay,
let's kind of make that tempting. If you could, this seems like it's a shallow lineup.
Kelsey for McBride, maybe.
Yeah, so I'd at least try and consider a McBride trade.
I would try to go Jaden Reed first, but no one can accept that.
No, for sure. Start maybe not at your highest pick. You don't have to start with Kelsey Worthy right off the first offer, but try and just see what the cost is, right? Because again, they might be thinking there's not even a price high enough you could pay. Like they might decide McBride's on my team, they're locked in, but you don't know if you don't ask, right? So at least ask.
Those are your bench players. Who is your wide receiver 2 and your flex wide receiver?
Well, saying Hill and Worthy, I'm guessing it's a shallow lineup, Jamie, where they're only starting 2 wide receivers, and then Williams and Reed are like the receivers 3 and 4. That's the way I interpret it. Like there's no one in between those.
Yeah.
Like it's probably 2 receivers, 2 running backs, 1 flex, and they're flex.
Giving up Worthy and Kelsey to get McBride, and then start JMO in your.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like I think it's worth to at least send out offers and see and be willing to go up to Worthy. Would you be willing to go Hill and Kelsey in a redraft league for McBride?
No.
Oh, Hill and Kelsey. No, I wouldn't do that.
That seems too far. So Kelsey Worthy might be if you're willing to do that, Dion. You don't necessarily have to send that as your first offer, but if you're willing to go as far as Worthy and Kelsey from McBride, it might be worth it in the shallow format like this. If it was deeper starting lineups, we might say no, but because it's shallow enough, probably worth it.
So I put a poll out today, and I was like, who would you rather have at their ADP? And it was Sutton, JMO, and I forgot who the third one is, but everyone was saying JMO, and I'm like, it's got to be Sutton because he's the top target. But people
are you asking for Dynasty?
JMO. That just tells you how people are looking at JMO. Like, they love him.
I mean,
I had the breakout last year, right?
Yeah, I see the vision. I see the vision, and it's like Sutton and JMO are going to be two very different types of scorers in your fantasy lineup. Like, one reason as Dion, would like to make that trade is because Worthy, JMO, and Reed are going to be are like many other boom bust guys who could either give you like a wide receiver 10 or like a wide receiver 40 in any given week. Sutton probably more likely to be, wide receiver 20 on a week by week basis. So I can see it either way. I like both players.
It was Devonta Smith, Jameson Williams, and Cortland Sutton.
Oh, I easily want Devonta Smith.
14 votes for Smith, 32 votes for Jameson Williams, and 19 votes for Sutton. So it went
I want Smith. Give me Smith. Straight up. I want Devonta Smith, personally.
I'll take whoever is available latest on the board.
Well, based on these polls, Smith might be the cheapest. So I don't know.
Right, so let's talk about this sexy lineup that I'm swiping right on.
Well, let's think. So 5 running backs in the first 6 rounds. So I definitely, as they were starting running backs, I thought, let's get these guys get a ton of carries. But I was also conscious of, okay, I want quarterbacks, but my list of quarterbacks I want is going to be very narrow and limited. And Kyler Murray was one of those quarterbacks. I just felt 4th round that's where I was willing to take the jump on him. And I guess I got the Kyler Murray, James Conner stack. That's going to be a lot of the team's carries. It's not necessarily stacked typically, but but I'm thinking that, like, if that's the majority of the team's carries, I've kind of monopolized it. I can just play both weeks and hope there's some receiving touchdowns that they can stack on the same plays. But yeah, heavy running backs early, and I've kind of started now. You can see at the end, Giddens, Dillon, handcuffing a couple of my first guys, Saquon and Jonathan Taylor. So
I love that. So my question is, where did Will Shipley go? Because I think he
went in the 17th round. He went just like you picked before me before I took Giddens.
I would have rather
Jamie. I was hoping to go Shipley, Dillon. I was hoping to do that and just get the entire Eagles backfield, but no.
So when you took Giddens, Shipley was gone.
Shipley was gone. Yeah, I would have at that turn gone both. Obviously, what I should have done was, instead of taking Romeo Doubs, gone Shipley. But at that point, though, I was still, to like you, volume. Who are the target earners? So either if you're a tight end, if you're a top 2 target earner on the team, likely, or these receivers that have chances to get to 20% target share. And with Wandale and Doubs both available at that turn, I kind of like that. I'm a Packers homer. I had to make a Packers pick somewhere, and Doubs led the team in target share last year, 19%, I think it was. So I just thought that late to get a guy that could lead his team in targets, and Wandale just target earner throughout, like Godwin and Shakir, right? Those are the 4 receivers I've gone for. And I expect all of them to either easily be top 2 on their team in targets, but also be pushing those target totals high.
Oh yeah, like Shakur's going to get first downs. Godwin's first downs, those short passes. They're the slot guy. Njoku, I love that pick.
And then I took the tight ends where I thought there were value in Njoku there. Yeah. I debated Njoku Ingram at that 7th pick, and then would have gone Ingram if he was available, but I had to settle for Godwin, which is actually an okay thing to settle for because he did go at that turn. But yeah, I did go Njoku over Ingram.
Okay.
Part of it is the bye week. I was conscious of those week 12 and week 14 buys, and
that makes sense.
So that's maybe the spot where it came into play the most, because Ingram is a week 12 buy and Njoku week 9, so I defaulted to going Njoku. I think really Wandale at week 14 might be the only player. Oh, and Ramondre Stevenson, I think, for the Patriots. I think everyone else is bye weeks between 5 and 10, or 5 and 11. So I mostly avoided the week 12 and week 14 buys against Stevenson and Robinson.
I'm kind of jealous that you got Walker. I know you got him in the third, but like
Yeah.
he almost fell to me to the fourth. So like I have Barkley, Taylor, and I took Kamara.
I wanted Kamara, to be honest, and he went, I think, 1 or 2 picks before I took Walker. But again, a nice consolation prize.
Well, I almost got Walker a full round later.
That would have been sweet.
I had to settle for Chubb. Chuba Hubbard.
Okay.
Yeah, you shouldn't be taking Nick Chubb that early. But yeah, I mean, Hubbard, we expect to get a lot of carries too. So, you're still getting starting running backs. And I guess
because like the only reason he went because Steve took him 1 pick ahead of me because I sent him my freaking podcast that I was on a few days prior, and he watched them and he saw that I was taking Walker at that pick.
I mean, you sent it to him. I mean, I don't know if
Not my fault.
Yeah, hey, good. Support yourself. Like, promote yourself. That's great. Like, because we should. Yeah, that was the Fantasy Football Universe podcast, right?
But I do love the Shakur pick. Love the Godwin. Love the Ward. I wish you would have got Shipley instead of the AJ Dillon. But
I mean, right now Dillon's listed as the backup on the depth chart. In my touchdown projections, I have Dillon with more touchdowns than Shipley, so I'm actually okay with it making the bet on Dillon being the main back. I would love to get both and then have both.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
and maybe that's the Packers with the former Packers player. Maybe that's there, but
I gotta ask Kyle, because I mean everything you guys have talked about so far, I completely agree with. Like, love how you've gone for volume. Like, I feel like you really played the scoring settings very well in this draft. I gotta ask, were you on the clock in the 13th round as the Judkins? Yeah, Judkins news broke.
You know what? It happened in the late 12th round. It was after I made the Freiermuth Stevenson pick because Dillon, Sampson, and Ford were both there available in that 11-12 turn if I really wanted Sampson. And then it was later in that second round the news broke, and then Sampson went. And I thought, oh, Ford's going to go too. And I thought there's no way I get through the entire 13th round and he's still there. Yeah, I smashed that.
Smoke and mirrors, man. Smoke and mirrors.
I don't know if I want to smoke a mirror, but then to get Okonkwo next, though, at that, I loved that turn. Like, it's funny because the turn before, Stevenson, Freiermuth, I kind of was like, okay, these are the best two, I think, but I didn't love either pick. But I didn't really love anyone there. That was a turn where I felt like, oh boy, we're already starting to run thin. And then probably that 13th, 14th turn, like, you know what? I love this stack. And then I kind of, as the picks went, I started to really like those picks even more. Like, those were some good players to get the Okonkwo Ward stack. And I took Ward ahead of a lot of quarterbacks like Geno Smith, Tua. And I kind of just at that point, banking on the rookie running a lot. We don't know how much Ward is going to run in the NFL, but we tend to see rookies run more. And even like the non-traditionally mobile guys, they'll run a lot as a rookie. And then as they get to year 2, they get more confident in throwing a bit more and going through their progression. So I wonder if Ward, especially without a ton of deep options on that Titans, like who's it really worth to go through the progressions for? At times, 1 or 2 looks, Ward running then might be one of the optimal plays a lot of the time. And I wonder if he's coached that way as a way to avoid mistakes, avoid taking sacks. So I know you believe in his athleticism, Rahul, and his ability. So I kind of took him ahead of other quarterbacks ahead of him in ADP because I didn't view any of those quarterbacks as good enough rushers. And I just felt getting the edge with Ward as a rushing quarterback there. I didn't intend to stack him with Okonkwo, but to me, it was just like the rushing skill set.
So I was going to take Okonkwo in the 15th round where I took Roshan. But I didn't want to miss out on Roshan, right? And then I was like, well, I'll get Okonkwo next. And then where I took Tyler Shuck, Okonkwo went like 5 picks before me, and I actually got mad. I'm like, damn it. Like, I really wanted Okonkwo, but I settled for Shuck. So I'm not mad at it. It would have just been nice to have the Ridley, Ward, and Okonkwo
super stacks
on the bench, right?
Yeah. Those are weeks where if you think it's they're playing against a really bad pass defense, that's when you throw Okonkwo in as the extra. Like your baseline stack is Ward and Ridley most weeks, and then this is a really good passing game where Okonkwo could also smash.
Yeah,
passing volume here. This is the game where Ward could potentially throw 4 or 5 touchdowns and make it work. Like those, you pick those matchups and play Okonkwo.
But I just felt the upside of the Ben Johnson running back is a lot more than
The Ben Johnson running backs. Is that the only reason you took Roshan? There's no other prior reason?
Yeah. There's no reason other.
Well, format. I mean, he's a backup running back. Like that's a good enough reason in this format to take him. So
it's a huge value for Jamie on Roshan compared to what, a couple years ago or last year?
Right? Yeah. So generously auctioned his pick off the charity and took Roshan.
Mm-hmm. I wasn't even a top guy that took Roshan. Like he went way earlier.
Someone else believes even more and is willing to give to charity. Dion mentioning Kate Otten as well as a belief in.
Yeah, no, I love Kate Otten. I actually took him in a draft today recently, just because I had Baker and I wanted to stack. I think I had Baker, Godwin, and I wanted Otten as the best ball tournament style, so I took him.
All right, so you guys ready?
I liked over him too, but I just took him because of that stack.
Yeah, no, it's good. I mean, Otten, I think, as much as they've added pass catchers, he'll still earn a certain amount of target share there. So he could be third on the team in targets. Really, like that's not totally out of the question. It's going to be tougher to compete with Evans and Godwin on a game-for-game basis. But you guys ready to play some Dynasty Tinder and get this fire going?
Get it going. I'll be right back.
All right. So, as you can see on Jamie's background, we're either going to swipe left or swipe right. So I think that's the way Tinder works. Or left means no, right means yes. And so how we're going to start this, we're going to start this from the standpoint of, are you buying these players in Dynasty? And we're going to give a draft pick price and swipe right to say, yes, I'm giving my draft pick to get this player, or swipe left, no, I'll hold the draft pick. So Dynasty Tinder begins with Sam LaPorta. So I gotta say, kudos to Rahul for researching these Dynasty prices, whether it was draft pick price equivalent, or as we're going to get to the second half of Dynasty Tinder, position ranking and overall ranking spots. So thank you, Rahul, for giving us a lot of great topics. So we're going to start with Sam LaPorta. So we're going to start with 26 first, thinking that a lot of rookie drafts might be done. So would you give your 26 first for Sam LaPorta? Let's say, this is the point I was going to try and make earlier, Dion. Let's say you want to buy an elite tight end, but the managers with McBride and Bowers, they've got the ring. They're married. They're locked in. There's no price high enough that they're willing to sell these guys on. You can say tight end premium if you want, and they can justify that by, I wouldn't sell Bowers for Jamar Chase because he's a one of one in his position. Same with McBride. Like those who hold them like that, they're just not willing to deal them. Like there's no price high enough that'll make them want to trade. They're just not. They're immovable. You see that. I tend to see that a lot with super flex quarterbacks. Like if you have Josh Allen on your team, there's probably no trade-off or big enough, even if like, oh, this is an overpay massively. I don't want to move Josh Allen. Like some people are just going to be like that. So in the assumption that I want to buy an elite tight end and we can't buy Bowers and McBride, a lot of people's tight end 3 in their rankings is Sam LaPorta. I know it is for me. Is it the case for you, Rahul?
I guess it is. I'm pretty sure Sam LaPorta is ranked third in my rankings.
I thought it was that you shared your rankings recently, and I think Jamie will either have him or Tyler Warren, perhaps. But
yeah,
if you were to buy an elite tight end, this might be the highest ranked one that's actually attainable to be bought. And if he had a monster season like his rookie season, maybe he's in that unattainable tier 2. So it's almost the fact that there was a bit of a dip, didn't score as many touchdowns, there less targets. Jameson Williams breakout has made it enough that LaPorta is available. So this could be actionable. You might actually be able to go trade for him. So I guess all that precursor to say 26 first. You willing to just give up your future first next year to go buy Sam LaPorta? You swiping right on that deal and taking the player, or are you swiping left and holding your first?
Unfortunately, I will have to swipe left on Sam LaPorta at this junction. If you go back to Jamie's original intro to this episode, he said you could find long-term, your long-term partners or just short flings. I don't want anything to do with Sam LaPorta right now. So swipe left right from the start. And really, it's in a lot of ways, it's the price. You have mid 26 first, but 26 first in general, I just feel it can offer you both, flexibility for longer, not just, from this point through the end of the season. There are a lot of different times you might want to use a 26 first. But Sam LaPorta, I think, just hasn't proven himself yet. He's still a young player, to be a target earner at the NFL level, even his tight end one season really came on the back of 10 touchdowns. He didn't hit 1,000 yards, and compare that to Brock Bowers, who exceeded I think 11, maybe 1,100 yards, but also set the rookie reception record. Only 5 touchdowns.
Over 100 catches, and I don't think LaPorta had 100 targets as a rookie.
It was 86. So he did it in a very different way. So
Bowers more catches as a rookie than LaPorta had targets as a rookie. So like just that disparity is
exactly right. And then it's a situation that's very crowded. You already kind of want to fade it a little bit with the Ben Johnson departure. It seems like LaPorta might be, at least in the short run, might be the one that's affected a lot more than some of those other higher drafted pieces, at least. But at the price of a 26 first, a random 26 first, I guess I would trade away Sam LaPorta to receive a random 26 first in most roster builds. I would say I just not the kind of price that I value him at. You guys play in a lot more tight end premium league, so I'd love to hear what your thoughts are on regarding that. But especially without like the volume profile, like I can't see many scenarios that I'd really want LaPorta at this price.
Well, and I think Dion's comment, LaPorta last year hit and miss. Tight end premium helps the super consistent catching tight ends, like a guy like Bowers who only scored 5 touchdowns. Well, in tight end premium, with those receptions being worth more, he would have been up in the rankings. But LaPorta doesn't really elevate much in the overall player rankings in tight end premium because it is based so much on touchdowns, and those scores aren't being affected. It's just the total receptions, and because that's where he's lacking and he's inconsistent, like Dion's saying, hit and miss. He's someone where I'm not necessarily more likely to want to go buy him in a tight end premium. Like I love George Kittle, but it's the same principle. You're looking for yards efficiency and touchdown. If you're chasing target earners, there's guys that are a lot cheaper. Like Evan Ingram right now is a super buy in Dynasty for that reason. Like Jamie, I agree with you. I think Courtland Sutton will lead the Broncos in targets, but I think Ingram is right there to the point where he could, I would say maybe it's like a 52-48% bet. That it's Sutton, 48% Ingram. Like they're really close where I could easily see Ingram leading that team.
Well, the number 2 target on that team is on Dallas Cowboys right now. So there's vacated targets, and those are going to go to Sutton, especially in that joke role, right? So I do agree. I'd rather have Ingram. I'm swiping
Hawkinson coming, like not dealing with an injury this year. Like last year he was coming off the injury. Now he's healthy. Like that's a guy that's probably going to earn more consistent targets than LaPorta, and it's going to be a lot cheaper. So I agree with Rahul. I will swipe left.
I am also swiping left. Just to give you some context, though, like I am swiping left on LaPorta, even though I have LaPorta at 3, right?
We all do.
Exactly, yeah.
Team context, right? Because if you're buying LaPorta, that's going to be probably an earlier first, right?
Because you're not going to win with LaPorta. Is that what we're saying, right? If you get first for LaPorta, he's not necessarily going to help you win and get your team better and force that pick later. So I agree.
So I gave up a 26 first for Kittle in a draft because I won the first year. I came in second last year, and I want to win again. So I thought who could be a good win now piece, and that's Kittle. And he's my number 2 tight end on my roster. And it's a tight end premium with 0.75. So I gave up my 111 or 112 next year to get Kittle just to guarantee myself a championship.
Yeah, like that's a piece that really is points per game adding to potentially make a pick later.
I have Kittle ranked 3 spots behind LaPorta, maybe 4 spots behind LaPorta, but I'm willing to give up a first for Kittle in that situation rather than a first for LaPorta. Like, no.
If you viewed yourself as an overwhelming contender and you're missing a tight end, I could get the argument of why. But again, like I think you might be able to package a second and something else to get other tight ends. So it just feels like the price is. I either want to spend more than just the first and be willing to go get McBride or Bowers, or spend a lot less and get cheaper tight ends. Like I don't love the range LaPorta. Rahul used a really good word, flexibility, right? Like, do I really want to have this first be LaPorta right now? That first could be a lot of different things. It could be a trade asset throughout the season. if you hold it all the way through, you might be able to package that to get an elite asset during next year's rookie draft. And so, like, there's setting it to just LaPorta right now does feel like that's too rich of a price, even though that is what the KTC value price is. But all four of us, and all three of us on screen, including Dion in the comments, are swiping left there. Go to the thumbnail image cover boy this week, Mr. Dak Prescott. Also going to be a 26 first, but we're going to like push the point that Jamie was just making about George Kittle and say, LaPorta, he's only in his third year. You could see a team that's maybe thinking rebuild be willing to buy him. For a guy like Dak, you look at the top, I don't even know. I think you look at the top like 27 quarterbacks in Dynasty. Dak is by far the oldest. And so he's at such a weird price point where like rebuilding teams aren't going to have interest in Dak. So you assume anyone that is trying to buy Dak, it's a contender. So we're going to assume late 26 first. This is a team that doesn't need Dak to help make the playoffs, but might want Dak to help them win in the playoffs. Does that make sense as that context of why you view a 26 first as being late as opposed to random like the LaPorta team?
Yeah.
So you guys willing to swipe left or right, or are you willing to swipe right on Dak and pay a 26 first to acquire him, or swipe left and hold that 26 first? Go ahead, Jamie.
Well, if you said it was a 25, 111, 112, I would swipe right. But since it's 26 and it's unknown, I'm going to have
Jackson Dart isn't on the board, I doubt the person with Dak is willing to make that trade.
Well, the thing is, so last year, so like right now I have Dak around QB 20. Right. So last year I had Baker Mayfield around QB 20. And I sold Baker Mayfield for the 111 and I won a championship. So
what did you do with the 111? Did you make the pick or did you sell the player later?
Sold it and they picked Jonathan Brooks.
Oh, amazing! What did you package that to get a different asset that you weren't able to get for Dak? Like what?
No, it was straight up. It was Baker for 111.
Yeah, but what did you do with the 111? Or you acquired Baker?
I sold my 111.
Okay, I understood it the other way. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah. Okay, right. No, for sure.
So if you're in a draft right now and you're at the 111 and you're like, should I take Jackson Dart or Caleb Johnson? I would take Dak.
Yeah, trade it for Dak for sure.
So I'm swiping right on Dak for this year's.
Well, but that's why I specified 26 first, because again, like I think all of us would easily acquire Dak for that price, and I don't, because the difference, Jamie, is Dak is coming from a spot where just recently he was viewed as a top 5 quarterback. Like we've seen him, like the injury sucked, but for the most part, since he started smashing as a fantasy asset, he's kind of kept there. Baker dipped so low because of going to Carolina and all the bad years there, and like even his first year with the Bucs, like man, as a quarterback competition between him and Kyle Trask, he was so cheap, so he was so low that his good seasons have brought him up, but not brought him up to the point where he's as expensive as Dak. So like I don't think there's a lot of teams that are selling Dak for the 111 in this year's draft, like especially if Dart isn't there. Like if Dart's there and they justify that as okay, I can get younger in a first round quarterback, maybe, but like if Dart's not there at 111, I could see a lot of teams just saying, no, like that's too cheap for Dak. Like if I can get Dart, great, but if not, I'm not going to bother. 26 first could be a lot of different things. I think that's an easier way to acquire Dak. So that's why I use that. It also makes it a tougher discussion. It makes you think.
Because
it makes that brain Tinder with flame and smoke.
In 26, there's going to be at least 5 first-round talent quarterbacks coming out in the NFL. Now, how does that translate to fantasy? We don't know. How many go in the first top 10 picks, top 15 picks? But I'd almost rather have that first to take a chance on one of those younger quarterbacks that are going to be in the top 20 for the next 5-10 years. Rather than buying Dak, because you can buy Justin Fields, who I have one spot behind Dak, for an early second. So
that was the one thing I was going to say. Do you bank the first, like you get an extra first, and then you sell something cheaper than a first to get a different quarterback? You've still got your quarterback. Maybe the points aren't quite the same, and you've banked that extra first. Like it would make sense by making multiple moves.
Yeah, so like, add your second round pick with like a mid-tier player and go get Justin Fields, because Justin Fields and Dak this year aren't even close. Like Fields is gonna be a top 10 quarterback. Dak is like in that 15 to 20 range, in my opinion.
So Dion's swiping so far left that Dak's being sent to a different league in the UFL. So that definitely does not want to sell his 26th first for Dak. Kind of sounds like you're in the same boat, Jamie, where you'd rather hold your first, even if you view yourself as a contender.
Yes,
okay. So you're swiping left
because of those. If you play Devi and you look further in the future, because I am from the future. I don't know if you guys know this.
Right.
I came back from the
not just a dating app, but also a killer robot.
Yeah, and I know Dak isn't gonna be in that top 10 range the rest of his career. So go get a guy this year in Justin Fields, even cheaper, that is going to put up top 10 numbers. Keep your first, and then replace Fields with that first round pick next year.
I guess the only thing I'll push back is, I mean, maybe the average outcome for Dak is like QB 15, but Dak was just QB 4 just like 2 years ago on an offense that I think should look better. Both, I think the weapons that Dak has, as well as I think the Cowboys somehow had a competent offseason in building their offensive lines, very unlike Jerry Jones. So I do think Dak actually has that ceiling.
He's pretty good at that, to be honest.
I mean,
Zach Martin, Tyron Smith, Travis Frederick, like he built that line.
Maybe right.
He chose not to draft Johnny Manziel and take Zach Martin. Like that was, even though he desperately wanted Johnny, he was very publicly like almost lamenting the fact that he wasn't taking him, but he still did it. So I'll give Jerry Jones credit.
So offensive line has been his strength. So I like Pickens. We still will talk about another weapon on this team, but also from a dynasty point of view, I think this is something that I haven't really taken into account. Like, he is 31. Kyle, as you said, he's the oldest up to where he's ranked, but Dak also just got, at that time, the biggest contract in the NFL last year. He's set up to be on the Cowboys at least until 2028, as well as CeeDee Lamb that whole time. Now Pickens and this other weapon, Jake Ferguson, I'll just spoil it so far, but neither of them are contracted to be on the Cowboys next year, but really doesn't matter as long as CeeDee Lamb is there. So I do think that combination of upside plus longevity is there. This is kind of where the Dynasty Tinder metaphor breaks a little bit, because I'd love to get a comparable QB at cheaper than a first. But in isolation, Jamie kind of detailed the blueprint right there. Send that late first, get Baker Mayfield, who has a QB 6, QB 5 season, and you do really well. That's kind of what you could get with Dak Prescott. Can you, if you get a better price, maybe, but I think in desperation, like, I don't know, maybe you can, but I'll swipe right on it for Tinder's sake.
I think Dak can be top 15 this year. Anywhere between.
I think it could be
easily. He's had like 3 different top 5 seasons. He can easily be
top 5 this year. He could be top 5, I would say.
No way, because you aren't going to say Dak is better than Hurts or Burrow or Mahomes.
We're not saying he is better. Like I'm the highest ranker on him. I'm ranking him as QB 14 in Dynasty, but he has shown in his past the top 5 upside is there. It doesn't mean like there's a lot of quarterbacks that have top 5, especially if you're talking weekly basis. Almost any starting quarterback has top 5 upside.
Yeah,
because all it takes is throwing 4 or 5 touchdowns in the game, and you're a top 5 quarterback. Like we've seen Mac Jones do that, but his floor is awful because he's not that good of a quarterback.
Ooh, Mac Jones.
Yeah, no, I mean, like we've seen him finish as QB1 overall on a week. We've also seen him finish with like 3 pass attempts in a full game played without getting benched. So like the worst floor imaginable, but like all quarterbacks really have a high ceiling. Do they have Josh Allen Hurts ceiling on a weekly basis? No, but anyone can throw 5 touchdowns in a game if you're an NFL quarterback.
So for redraft purposes, Dak or Caleb?
Yeah. Here's the thing.
Oh.
I have Dak ranked higher than Caleb in Dynasty because I still have yet to believe in
Oh.
Caleb. We're going to talk about that next week on Fantasy Court. There's another quarterback in that same ranking.
I see a world where J.J. McCarthy outproduces Dak Prescott in redraft.
I mean, I would say that's very unlikely, but it exists.
How is that unlikely? Every other bad quarterback that played in Minnesota's offense outscored Dak every year.
But they've played in the. I guess they've played in the NFL though.
No one. We just talked about 2013, 2 years ago. Dak finished it with CeeDee Lamb finishing as the wide receiver 1. I think Dak was QB5. So no one in Minnesota outscored Dak.
So I mean, in redraft, I do have Dak between 12 to 15, but it's just I don't know where to put him between.
That seems like that's a fine ranking, but that you are ranking him closer to his floor. I would say he does have he could finish higher than QB12. We've seen him do it numerous times. That
just means every other quarterback above him needs to suck.
Which they can do. We've seen quarterbacks fail. I mean,
or just have a variable amount of passing touchdowns. I think like QB8. I mean, this year you could even bump it up to QB6. QB6 to like perhaps QB20 this year. I think in redraft, very specifically, it's all a crapshoot. They're gonna fall within.
Looks like tight end normally does.
Separated
from everyone else. Yeah.
And I think Dak Prescott has a great chance with the weapons, but also one point I just didn't say is the lack of a run game.
Well, for sure, he could throw more pass attempts than most of those guys right ahead of him. For sure, like they could lead the league in pass attempts. Like that is within the range of outcomes with the new head coach, play caller, offense coordinator. We have no idea what the run pass game split's going to be. With the way they've invested in running back, you got to think it's going to be high passing.
Exactly.
You also have to remember Dak is going to be 32 years old when he starts the season. So that means he's only got about 4 years left.
4 years. 4
year windows. 4 years is plenty in Dynasty. Like we're looking at 3 year windows max. So
I don't think that. Yeah.
No, but the fact that he lost his legs, he can't run anymore at this point.
I mean,
you're just slandering him.
He did.
Like,
so
he went from
he had a really bad injury, and
200 yards to 50 to 100. If you,
it didn't really like. He still finishes a top 5 quarterback, even in this post rushing Dak era, right?
Last year he only had 54 yards in 8 games, though. Right, the year before he had 242, which was closer to what we saw previous years. The problem isn't the rushing yards. To be honest, it's the rushing touchdowns. That's where because he was really good at producing rushing touchdowns early in his career, and that just hasn't been there. So I'll give you that. Like his weekly ceilings maybe aren't as high, or at least he only has one way to hit his weekly ceiling: throw 5 touchdowns. Like he's not going to cheat his way into a rushing touchdown and help his ceiling. So I'll give you that. Like his success is very narrow. What it has to be is CeeDee Lamb smashing, and that's what allows Dak to finish as a top 6 quarterback, which we could easily see CeeDee smash.
Or George Pickens has to go 260-yard catches in a game. I think he's in a better situation than when they turned it on. Like it happened like very specifically after a bye in a 2023 season. They flipped the switch, just started passing the shit out of the ball. But maybe getting it back to that dynasty value, like a late first is still expensive. If it's that piece, I am very loose with what I consider to be late first. It's hard to do it at the start of the season compared to like in week 12 or right before your deadline but I don't mind playing it super loose with late first. So
to a certain extent, because as soon as it's week 12 and you're like almost locked in the playoffs, people don't really want your first. Like you've got to take that, like to maximize the value of that first, you have to do it before the season because it's so like if you waited till week 12 and then like, okay, now I'm going to go buy Dak for that, what looks now is a set 110 to 112, you might not be able to get the deal done. Like that's why it would have to be done now. Like someone views that ambiguous first, they're willing to say, hey, that could be a top 6 pick. Now, I think I'm willing to swipe right on this, but the situations have to be like, again, very narrow. Do I need him as my QB2? Like I somehow am a contender, but I don't have a strong QB2, and that's like the missing piece. That's sense to me to send my first. Where I feel
well,
like
as a QB2, yeah, you want Dak as a QB2.
But that's the thing. I don't think if you're trying to trade for him as your QB1, you're probably not a strong enough contender that you can afford to do it.
Right. Yeah.
And if you do have Dak, go get Joe Milton.
Yeah.
He'll be so cheap to acquire.
I think Joe Milton is going to be the sleeper future of the Dallas Cowboys.
I thought he was going to say starter right there.
I thought starter too.
Yes.
Sleeper. Like you really wanted the drama of it, right? You can hear the Dynasty Tinder sizzling there. But to Joe's point in this comment, I assume it's Joe, the Fancy Six Pack account. Dak and Fields are safe, but they're safe for different reasons. Like it's rushing volume for Fields, passing volume from Dak, but that allows both to really be safe on like high weekly floor options, I think.
So I have a team right now. I have Dak Prescott as my number one. Someone offered me Joe Milton for what's the San Francisco backup? Because he has
Curtis
Rourke. No, just kidding. It's Mac Jones.
Mac Jones. So
yeah.
So I traded Mac Jones for Joe Milton, and people in the chat were like, "What are you doing? Why are you?"
May as well align with your backup. That makes sense.
Mac
I've done that
Jones for an upside guy like Milton. And
I've definitely traded like a late second in like last year, like a team where I had Dak. I traded I think it was like the 210 for Trey Lance just to get that backup because I already had Cooper Rush. I was like, I've got the whole QB room to myself. So I can see I definitely approve because I've done stuff like that specifically with Dak and his backups. Speaking of the Cowboys, you guys are ready. I know Jamie said swipe left, but who am I both swiping right? We'll swipe right to the next question.
Nice.
Jake Ferguson going at tight end. It's not going to cost you a first to get Jake Ferguson. Rahul, you were, I think according to KTC, right? He's valued at less than a second.
Less, yeah. Below a late 25 second on KTC.
So that to me tells me if you sent a 26 first out for Jake Ferguson, you could probably get that done. If you
easily.
Random 26 second. So that's the price. If you need a tight end, and again, this is the same argument. It's almost the same scenario as LaPorta. Maybe I should have done LaPorta after that. I don't know. But you can't get Bowers McBride, and you're hesitant. You swipe left on setting your 26 first for LaPorta. But instead, you decide, okay, 6 seconds for Ferguson. Similar principle, like go get Ingram, go get Hawkinson instead of paying for LaPorta. But if those guys are still too expensive, is Ferguson a good, cheaper option by only giving up a second? What do you guys think?
Wow. Okay, so in my opinion, Jake Ferguson is worth a third, not a second.
Oof.
Dude, don't even say oof, because look who you got in the freaking late second round. You got Mason Taylor, who's better than Jake Ferguson.
You know that. You've never seen
Ferguson. You got Arroyo. You can get Fannin.
No.
The fourth round.
A backup tight end
going to be better than Jake Ferguson.
How do you know that? You don't know Fannin will ever be better than Ferguson.
I'm from the future, and I look at these players' profilers, and
I know Ferguson's RAS score isn't great, but like to me, I look so heavily into RAS score until we see can they earn targets. Once I see a player earn targets, I don't really care about their RAS.
Exactly. It's like
Ferguson over Jake.
You see, I like Ferguson in his situation, but I like Jake's situation more. Dak always targets his tight end. Like whoever is his number one tight end will usually finish the second target on the team. I think this year with Pickens there, we maybe project Ferguson to finish third. But like, who's stopping Ferguson from being third on this team in targets? Like, there's no one.
And Pickens and Jake Ferguson do not do anything similar on the football field. So while still, well, let me give the Ferguson pitch. Let me give the Ferguson pitch first, because honestly, Jake Ferguson is, I would say, a small talk sports post-hype sleeper in 2024 or 2025 trademark. But I was really into Ferguson going into last year, as I think he was like maybe drafted like the tight end 10 off the board, or tight end 8 to 10 off the board.
He finished as like tight end 5-6 the previous year. So
the previous year, but something that really stood out to me is not just the targets. He had 100 targets in 2023. Obviously, a little shakier of a situation this year, but he got injured in week 1, and then Dak played 8 or 12 games. He played only part of the season.
I think they played 2 games together last year.
Yeah, still even with backups, managed to get a lot of targets. One thing that really drew me to Ferguson the previous year, it didn't really work out, is in 2023, that breakout season, Jake Ferguson had the 4th most red zone targets in the entire NFL, which is kind of a bonkers stat to sit here more than a year later and think back. But he really was like a featured part of the game plan, as you said. Dak always targets the position. Even Dalton Schultz for a couple seasons was like quite a viable tight end.
I mean, Jason Witten at the end of his career, like he was still earning targets like he was in his prime.
Yeah, it just like we'll have to see how tight end plays out this year, but I'm nervous to be. I definitely don't want to be the guy who takes the 4th tight end off the board in a redraft league. It's very hard to find where the difference makers are going to be, and I like both the volume earning potential as well as the touchdown potential. Which, look at the box score, he had 5 in 2023 and not a single touchdown in 2024. So there's a little bit of projection from myself, but when it says late 2025 second, like I think Mason Taylor actually is a great line there, Jamie. Like Mason Taylor, Jake Ferguson. I'll actually probably go Mason Taylor. I'm a Mason Taylor fan. Jake Ferguson on a team that's probably like maybe you got to the playoffs, late in the playoffs on the back of Jonnu Smith. Now you don't know what to do, right?
Right, yeah.
Jake Ferguson could be that cheap-ish piece you get there. So late, I mean, on a contender, again, like I just said for the first, like I don't really care about my late seconds. Like Mason Taylor, Terrence Ferguson, that's a great line actually, I think, for this Jake Ferguson value, where then I could see for the rebuilder, like, okay, could I have drafted Mason Taylor or Terrence Ferguson with this pick? Maybe, but 26 second in the future, if I got to do it on a contender, I'll do it. I really do believe in the Ferguson bounce back this year.
So bounce back. Where was his breakout? Because you're saying a 700-yard season was his breakout, right? But then
I mean, but he was what, tight end like 6 or tight end 7 that year?
Yeah, because he had 5 touchdowns.
You're making it sound like he scored 20. 5 touchdowns isn't very much.
I would say he's a positive regression candidate with the red zone targets. I don't think he scored enough touchdowns for what he got.
This is the last year of his contract, right?
Last year. It is. Love contract year guys, though.
We do love contract year guys, but where do they end up in the future? This is a dynasty podcast, and I'm not banking on a guy that hasn't hit 800 yards yet in a season. Only hit over 100 targets once. And
to be fair, he's played 3 years in the NFL. So
exactly 3 years. And then he has 1 more year on his contract. They aren't going to re-sign him.
How do you know that?
We don't know. Okay, we don't know. But I'm not banking on he's just another guy. Where's Cody Parkinson right now? Where is he?
Oh, man, that was a great sleeper of last year.
Exactly. Where is he? And that's his best comparable player.
No, I mean, you look at Colby Parkinson. Like Parkinson's stats are nowhere near like the box score, like the stats that Ferguson had.
Where is his analytic at?
I mean, Colby Parkinson's never earned anywhere close to a target share near Ferguson. That's not a good comparable.
But they're the same type of player. So you're banking on a guy that
I vehemently disagree. I do not think they're the same type of player. I think target earning is much more important.
Yeah, you have 1 good season over 3 years, and you're banking on the 1 season that happened 2 years ago.
I'm banking on the fact that the tight end 1 for Dallas has repeatedly been a tight end 1 in fantasy. Like several years in a row.
Why can't it be Schumacher? Why can't it?
Because Ferguson's running more routes than him last year. Schumacher was good when he needed to step in for Ferguson, but when Ferguson was active, he was playing all the routes, playing all the snaps, running all the routes over Schumacher. Clearly, Dallas thinks Ferguson's way better than Schumacher. If it was the case, why is Schumacher not starting for them?
So why don't they, if they extend Ferguson this year, in Dynasty, I will raise him. But right now, I am swiping left because there is no. He's only averaging like not even $1 million in his contract.
And that's what a rookie contract is, Jamie.
Exactly.
Why
would they?
I mean, rookie Ferguson only had 19 catches, but Colby Parkinson's best season is 30 receptions. Like they're not in the same stratosphere. So I don't care what Matt Kelly's stupid site says about who's a player comparable to who. Like, because to me, Ferguson and Parkinson aren't in the same stratosphere. Like Parkinson might be the tight end 4 on his team. So, like to me, they're not the same player.
Yeah,
earning targets is a skill set, and clearly Ferguson has earned them.
Yeah, and whether that's because of the quarterback that he's had, it doesn't like. I don't think matters much, right? Like I think he's a great bet this year, and what is probably going to be a very flat tight end landscape in my opinion. So I'd rather take that late shot.
And again, from the perspective of like you're specifically trying to buy a tight end, you're saying, how do I increase my starting lineup? Well, let's say Colby Parkinson's your starting tight end right now. Okay, let's maybe someone more realistic, but like let's say you've been banking on Higbee. You've been trying to piece together Higbee for years, and now they finally drafted what looks like his replacement. You need to bail out and get a starting tight end. Rather than pay a first for LaPorta, I'd definitely much rather pay a second for Ferguson. So I'm much more likely to swipe right on this one than the other tight end scenario we said.
Yeah, I'm swiping left just because I don't want to give up a second round pick for 7 points a game.
Okay, but I mean, you don't know that he's just going to get 7 points a game because he was in double-digit points per game 2 years ago.
7 to 10. Okay, 7.5 to 10.4.
To your point, Jamie, are there even cheaper ways to buy tight end, right? Like you don't have to spend a first for LaPorta, don't have to spend a second on Ferguson. Who can you get for a third?
With points, right? Like Ferguson, yeah, like maybe the long-term future. This is probably a short-term fling, isn't it, on Tinder? But like, what tight end would you feel more like comfortable paying? Like, what can you pay for that kind of price?
Yeah, let me go after a Fannin in the 4th.
But Fannon's not going to get any points this upcoming year.
Let's starting tight ends, Jamie. Who's a starting tight end that you can go buy for a third that you feel can get you close to what Ferguson's going to get?
A starting tight end that I could buy for a third.
Hunter Henry, maybe just like he's maybe the one where because he just never has any hype. Like if you get Henry for a third, I'd probably be okay accepting that because Drake May kind of showed. Okay, I will target the tight end kind of like Dak does. So that's a situation I'd be willing to buy.
Maybe Goddard is probably around what Ferguson costs.
Talk about the trade. Can you get Freiermuth for a third? Like those are okay situations where I
Kelsey for a third, dude.
I don't think you can.
Yeah,
you can try it, but
Kelsey is below Strange and Ferguson. And
in Dynasty rankings is different though than trade value, right? Like where he goes in the startup isn't necessarily like if the team that has Kelsey is like a perennial contender year in year out, they're probably thinking like he's still a key part of their contending team. They can't replace his points with a third. So I doubt like if a contending team has Kelsey, you can get him for a third. Strong rebuilder, okay. If the team that has Kelsey is absolutely horrible, yeah, send out anything you can to try and get him. But he's one of those where if the value is so cheap that you're a third and I have a contender with Kelsey, there's no way I'm selling him. His points are going to be worth way more to me than the third. So I don't know. I seriously doubt you could make that happen.
Jake Ferguson right now is in that tight end 18 to 21 range for me. I'd rather have the Strange.
And that's fair. Strange could be got for a third. Like again, Lawrence is targeted his
Mark Andrews is like right above him.
Right above
Mark Andrews.
You see, I doubt you can get Andrews for a third. Like that to me is again, it's another second, which is fair. Like if you'd rather buy Andrews for a second
over Ferguson for a second.
To be fair, I'd probably do that. Yeah, I'd probably rather buy Andrews. But yeah, I mean,
man, it's getting heated, and we have a lot of hot takes here.
Well, it is Dynasty Tinder after all, so appreciate everyone for that.
Right on the hotness and
yeah,
those on the uggos.
So we've got 3 more players. Let's keep this really quick, guys. And it's going to be simply, instead of draft picks now, it's their ranking spot. So thanks, Rahul, for searching these out. We're going to give situations. Some of it is position ranking, some of it's overall ranking. And we're going to do one with both. So start with Marvin Harrison Jr., wide receiver 11 in Dynasty. Are you guys, and we'll say left meaning lower, LL, and right meaning higher. That's about the right price. So do you think 11 or better, swipe right, or do you think you should be lower than 11 and you swipe left?
I am swiping right all day on Marvin Harrison Jr. Give me that all day. He's going to be the long-term guy that I'll spend the rest of my life with, at least the next 10 years. You know, his dad even had a down year his rookie season.
Very identical seasons.
Very identical, almost exact. And I'm not expecting Marvin to jump up to his dad's level, but I do think Marvin Harrison has that top 5, top 7 to 8 upside every year for the next 10 years. So give me him all day at anything after wide receiver 10. I'm buying him.
Well, we finally got Jamie to swipe right on something, so there we go.
Yeah. And I'm wearing his jersey.
Again, you have to swipe right.
Our jersey.
I'm glad we did the segment to make it all worth it. Rahul, what do you think? Wide receiver 11 for Marvin.
It's close. It's close. Maybe again, this is where the Tinder metaphor fails, because in Tinder you tend to swipe right more often when you probably shouldn't. But I'm gonna be a little more judicious. I'm gonna swipe left as the wide receiver 11. I think Jamie is right. He does have the profile for perennial top 5 finishes. I just don't see it coming. I just don't see it coming really in the next 2 years. I heard a very interesting stat today in best ball ADP, underdog best ball ADP. The team with the earliest drafted second pass catcher in the entire league is the Bengals. T. Higgins is the earliest drafted second pass catcher in fantasy. Next is the Arizona Cardinals, where Trey McBride and Marvin Harrison are going nearly back to back currently in ADP. And it's just it's tough for me to buy when I think the way Harrison was used on the field is not very conducive for a high volume role. That's not to say it's not going to change, right? You expect it to change, you expect it to get better, you expect the generational prospect to get better in his second year, but just the way that offense kind of runs, it's almost like Trey McBride is probably going to have the volume hog role, and Marvin Harrison just did a lot of big boy X receiver stuff down the field, an area where Kyler Murray was pretty disappointing at last year, connecting in plays under pressure, connecting on the deep ball. Again, could improve, but at wide receiver 11, there are a lot of great assets in that range. That's kind of the price where I wouldn't mind pivoting to, man, if I could even swing, you could probably swing Tet McMillan or Travis Hunter plus for Marvin Harrison, and I'm probably okay making that switch. You could probably get a quarterback in the kind of caliber of maybe Herbert's a little too much.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Yeah,
especially in Superflex, it's going to cost you Herbert just to get probably those guys are probably.
But can you get Jordan Love?
Yeah.
Jordan Love for Marvin Harrison.
Yeah. Oh, you're saying flipping Harrison to get Herbert? Yeah, I'd love that. If there's any bit of dip on Herbert, that makes a lot of sense. There's still some hype on Harrison. So Dion says he's high on Harrison, but wrong team, which is what you're saying. Not conducive to the system and the quarterback.
It's the situation that has me down. At the end of the day, Marv only had 3.7 catches a year last year, so you can build this massive improvement case, and that still probably ranks to me as wide receiver 20 on the season. So I just don't see it at this. I'm out at this price point right now. I'm going to swipe left here.
Imagine if Marvin Harrison was on the Commanders. So
better quarterback, yeah.
Better quarterback.
If better quarterbacks, we view them as better.
Last year, Marvin Harrison would be wide receiver 3 in that situation.
Quite high, but and I guess my point was going to be,
McLaurin was 7. How can you not say Marvin Harrison, a better prospect, a better talent, can't be higher?
Well, McLaurin's
could be
been
higher,
better
but
than McLaurin's been much better than Marvin Harrison in the NFL. It's like not even close. Like Marvin Harrison, like
Marvin Harrison only had
for
1 year, and he had a bad quarterback because he kept
you
playing.
were saying that about Jake, though. You're already crucifying Jake Ferguson, even though he's only had really 2 years as a starter, because his rookie year he didn't do anything. I agree with your principle, Jamie. If he had a better quarterback, he would finish high, right?
Yeah,
but
like imagine if he had Peyton Manning thrown to him.
Yeah, and that was what I was going to say.
Marino was
one of the things that helped his dad rebound after a not so great rookie season was having Peyton Manning his whole career. Like that certainly helped. We like Kyler. I don't think I like Kyler.
You like Kyron a lot, so
I
know
do
you
like
have to
Kyler.
be high on
Kyler,
Marvin.
not Peyton. So to me, like the top 8 is pretty locked in Dynasty. So already we're talking about like a leg room of 4 spots. Can Marvin Harrison move into one of those spots between wide receiver 9 and, well, I guess it's 3 spots, 9 wide receiver 12. And I mean, I think Lad McConkey, based on what they've done as rookies, I'm easily going Lad ahead of Marv. Like Harrison has to prove that he's better than, like he has to prove that he can surpass McConkey. Right now he's not. Maybe you blame the quarterback situation. Maybe that eventually gets better. But just let's say they move on from Kyler. There's no guarantee they get a better quarterback in there. So I need to see it before I go there. I was someone who doubted Drake London for a long time, but he proved a lot, and I like the way he looks with
I'm
Penix.
in on Drake London. Yeah.
We're dealing with one spot. Can Marvin Harrison be that next guy right there over the entire field? I think I'll take the field. So I will swipe left on wide receiver 11. He's my wide receiver 13, but to pin him at that exact spot over an A.J. Brown, for instance, production, I don't think that's going to happen. So I'm going to swipe left too, just based on my rankings. Moving on to Saquon Barkley now as the next guy. Now this will be 28th overall in Dynasty. Rahul, is this super flex that you got? I guess I should have asked that.
This isn't super flex. This isn't super flex. If we're looking at super flex sleeper ADP, you know, some of those mock drafts you run on sleeper, Saquon Barkley is gone like before you realize like he's like
let's ignore sleeper. Yeah, you got the KTC, right?
This is KTC super flex rankings. Yeah,
28th overall. I'm looking at my rankings and I've got him 38th. So 10 spots lower, I'm going to swipe left there too. I'd rather bet on not even other running backs, it's just other positions when you're talking that.
Yeah. Like I feel like this is we'll probably all agree on this one to make it a little quicker. I would only say like startup ranking is very different from like market value in an existing league, right?
Yeah, I think the first portion of Dynasty Tinder was more the trades, like leagues that are established. These next 3 really are for like where you're taking them in a startup.
Yeah, so I would not consider Saquon as like my 2nd or 3rd pick in any startup.
Yeah, giving him in the 4th, but he ain't falling that far.
Yeah. Use your rookie picks to trade for him, but yeah, taking him in a startup is totally different than trading for him in an existing league. I agree with that. All right, so quickly got through that one. Cam Ward. I mean, and the reason I want to save time for this, there's 2. So first off, 50th overall asset. Mm-hmm. And then also QB 17. So we can. That's 2 different decisions we could make. So you could choose to swipe right on both and agree with both. But what do you guys think of him as the 50th overall asset?
All right, Rahul, you go ahead first because I got to pull something up.
Wow, we know Rahul likes Ward, so I'm going to imagine this is the. We'll take. I mean, more drama for the other answers. Let's get the obvious one out of the way.
I'm a little miffed that you started with the overall asset versus QB ranking. I feel like my answer is a lot more certain on the other one. 50th overall still is.
You know what, Rahul? I just went with the order you put him on the show sheet. So that's actually the way you set it up. That dictated that.
Man, 50th. It just shows like the times in like Superflex leagues, right? These quarterbacks are pumped all the way up. Talked about Cam Ward a lot. I really like Cam Ward. The prospect I like the story. I like the potential upside he has is like a QB1 in fantasy year in, year out. I like the value proposition of like the 101 quarterback going to, yeah, maybe not the best situation, but the situation hasn't mattered for I use this example all the time, right? Like we've just seen Stroud rise to first overall asset, Daniels rise to first overall asset. The value potential for Cam Ward is so high. I think it's if you look at the rankings, Bryce Young is a great example of what happens if he has a pretty poor first year. Bryce Young maintained his current ranking of Bryce Young is currently QB 20, which is where he ranked after his first season. It's kind of where Cam Ward
First
always
overall
sits.
insulation, right?
It kind of where he sits.
It would have been interesting to see where Young's value dipped to after he got benched before he returned to the starter.
It was very low. The
graph.
graph.
He's trying to sell Young in that month, boy.
Yeah, I mean, if you bought Young in that month, you had quite a value flip from how low it dipped. But for those reasons, the potential upside Cam Ward on top of I do like the prospect. I'm okay with the situation with Brian Callahan. A lot of investment in the O line. Is Calvin Ridley even as good as Terry McLaurin? Even as good as a yet unbroken out or pre-breakout Nico Collins and rookie Tankdale? I don't know, but I like Cam Ward. I'll swipe right here.
Jamie, do you still need more time, or did you find what you were looking for?
Oh no. So we're talking ADP 15th overall.
50th.
50th.
5-0.
Yeah. 50th. 5-0 and a super flex, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's insane to me because hell no, I'm not taking him there. Swiping left because I would take him QB 20th to 23 in the 5th round. So late 5th. So what is that? 12, 24, 48,
60.
60th.
Late
So
50.
give him to me at 60th. So we're right on that edge. We're oh well, she's kind of sexy. Let me see a little more swiping on these pictures.
Well, yeah, because we haven't. He's one we haven't seen any of. So
let me get those beer goggles on.
Yeah, give me a few drinks. Maybe I'll take her home with me, and I'll take Ward at that point. But no, because I did take Ward in a startup draft as my 3rd quarterback in the 5th round, and I hated it, but I knew it was the right decision. So if I see a girl at the end of the bar and I'm like, she seems nice, maybe I can take her home. I'm gonna wait until 2 a.m. I'm not gonna hit on her at 12. No, because there's other prospects that I might wanna.
Yeah, you'd rather draft Ashton Genty, for instance. If Ashton Genty is there, you'd rather take Ashton Genty home to your team.
Or even a Justin Fields. Give me a Justin Fields.
I was thinking prospects of rookies.
But anyway, I was in a startup draft. I took them in the end of the 5th round. I was happy about it, but I could have had Odunze and Rice. Instead, I took Ward and Rice.
Yeah, I like that.
And
I've got Ward ahead of Odunze.
Josh Allen. I have Drake May. So
see, that's the one where you probably took Drake May too high.
No, I didn't.
Well, we'll get to that next week. It's not time for that.
Yeah, I took him at the end of the 3rd round, so not high at all. But I'm looking across the room at Cam Ward, and I'm like, hey, how you doing? You want to come on my team?
Well, I think you were seeing the value of it, right? Because I know for myself,
value and the trade value, because I could trade that pick for something higher. Because Jackson Dart, who I love even more, was in the bathroom at the time, and they went 3 rounds later. So
can you try and trade Ward for Dart and get a plus out?
Yes.
Even just now before
maybe I get Xavier Worthy and Dart for Cam Ward. So give me the two girls at the end of the bar, and I'll give you the girl that's sitting next to me, and then I'll swipe right
on that trade. Yeah. So I am going to swipe right on Ward as 50th overall asset simply because I have 23 quarterbacks inside my top 50. So he's among them. Now it's funny because I'm swiping left on him at QB 17. Because like I said, I've got 23 quarterbacks. There's a lot of quarterbacks that have high there, several higher than Ward. So he's actually out. I think he might be QB 21 in my ranking. So I'll swipe right on the 50th overall, but I'm swiping left and saying no to him at QB 17. So what do you guys think of QB 17, Cameron? And then we'll get to the trade of the week.
I think that's too high.
QB 17. Oh, okay. I thought he was higher than that in your rankings, but my mistake. Where do you have him in your QB rankings, Jamie? Curious.
Oh shit! Hold on, let me pull it up.
Okay, well, while you're doing that, Rahul, what do you think?
I will swipe right on the rankings. Again, for the reasons, the value potential. Like today, when I was like considering what I was going to say, I did see like Bryce Young and Michael Penix for one right below Cam Ward. That like gave me some pause. The whole Dak Prescott conversation gave me a little bit of pause of if I'm ranking Cam Ward a little too high. I just Dak with the age a little different. Baker with the age a little different. Michael Penix has much better weapons than Cam Ward currently has. And is that one where, okay, the age, like both of them are still older prospects. Like, am I overrating Cam Ward, the rookie's ability to climb up the rankings and diminishing like Young, who's young, and Michael Penix, who's in his second year? Maybe I am, but I really like Cam Ward. I really like the fact that this guy came from a 0-star recruit to the 101 overall pick. The contrast in like character, and I don't want to go down like slander alley, but the contrast in character of Cam Ward to Shedeur Sanders is like it's like nine day. Like I
that's
think
why one's a first overall pick and one's a fifth rounder, right? Like that's,
yeah,
that says it all. That's all we need to know.
I could, yeah.
Right. I do have Cam Ward in my 15 to 20 range with Penix, Ward, Love, Mayfield, Dak.
Love.
Outside of Penix, I'd take all those quarterbacks over Ward, which is again why I'm sweeping left on him. It's QB 17, so that does make sense. So you're again right on the fringe here, Jamie. So these are difficult questions.
But I mean, there's also people behind him that I would rather have. I'd rather have Jackson Dart over Ward. I'd rather have Justin Fields over Ward just for the
That's
outside.
Crazy. That's absolutely crazy.
I'd rather have Jared Goff.
Well, I think at cost, right? Like you're ranking Ward ahead of them, but you would rather pay the cheaper cost on those guys than pay the cost on Ward.
Yeah. There's cost, but Ward, honestly, I have to put him in that 16 to 20 range.
At the end of the day, he was the 101 quarterback.
So was Darnold
for super flex. Like that's
Darnold was the third overall pick. That was
what's that dude's name?
Zach Wilson wasn't either because that was Lawrence's year.
Jamarcus Russell.
But I mean, to Rahul's point, I think the work ethic of Cam Ward clearly already demonstrated more than Jamarcus Russell.
Again, maybe it's that phase of the offseason because I'm also rising on Tyler Warren for being quite simply a dog. So,
well, we're arguing over Cam Ward, and didn't we all draft him in Scott Fishbowl? Or was that just me and Kyle?
I did not draft him, but the two of you drafted it.
We're talking about a 9th or 10th round pick in a Superflex redraft league versus a top 50 pick in a dynasty startup, right? Like there are different contexts there. But yeah, so we're gonna get to the trade of the week now. Jamie, this is brought to you by one of your leagues. It's a 10-team start 11 Superflex league. PPR scoring, tight ends get 1.75 points per reception. The trade is Breece Hall for Quinshon Judkins, Tyler Algier, and a 26-second. We don't usually do a news segment, but this would be topical to that, coming off the heels of Quinshon Judkins' arrest for a domestic battery charge. So we're pretty serious there in terms of what those outcomes are. We're still really early in the process to know what NFL discipline there is, what the outcome of this legal proceedings will be. But yeah, just that news is there and it's causing the activity because this trade happened after the news broke, right, Jamie?
Yes, because the girl that has Judkins put him right on a trade block, and I'm like, I'll give you my second for him. She's like, I picked him with the 107, and I'm like, it doesn't matter where you picked him, jabroni. Like you
value now.
Different situation.
Well, and to maybe her credit, she got maybe a, I think we all say Breece Hall's worth more than a 26 seconds. So,
well, Breece Hall is worth, in my opinion, the 103, 104. So if you're getting Breece Hall in this trade for Quinshon Judkins, Tyler Algier, and a 26-second, like you just ripped the other player off, and she is my good friend that got ripped off, and I wish she would have sent me this because she sends me trades all the time saying, "Should I accept this?"
I'm confused.
Like,
did she not get Brees Hall?
The girl, my friend, no, she ended up getting Judkins.
I thought she was the one selling Judkins. My mistake.
No, the other girl got Judkins, which was.
Oh, so she's not your friend.
Wait, hold on, my bad. So the girl that got
okay,
Judkins,
I understand. Yeah.
The girl that got Judkins is one of my friends, close friends. We're in a bunch of leagues together.
Is she a Clevelander as well?
Yeah, the other girl put him on a trade block, and I said he's worth a second.
Yeah.
So you got Brees Hall, who's worth the 102, 103, 104 in rookie drafts right now. And you got Algier in a second on top of a 106, 107 pick. What are you doing?
Well, I would say this is all because of the deal. Because if the arrest never happened, I would totally be on the Judkins side. Because to me, it's okay. You're resetting the clock on the rookie contract. You're getting the rookie coming into their first year as opposed to Brees Hall in the final year of his rookie deal with a quarterback that's like one of the lowest pass volume guys there is. And Brees Hall's value has been tied to his reception total more than anything over his career. So I am concerned with Hall. But now we live in a world where this Quinshon Judkins arrest happens. So that's enough to lower him in my rankings, rookie rankings, and overall dynasty running back rankings as well, to the point where I would take the Hall side now. But pre-arrest, I would have definitely been on the Judkins side. Because I'll take the younger running back and the extra pick easily.
Give me Hall all day.
But yeah, because of the context now we live in, I would
Hall
alleviate the risk of Judkins. And feels like Hall's almost the less risky pick now in all this.
No, before the arrest, Judkins was still ranked behind Hall, and I still had Judkins in my top 10.
I mean, we've talked about the Hall debate all season, Jamie. I'm not convinced with him and Justin Fields. So
yeah, I don't really want to talk about Brees Hall.
If you don't like fantasy points, I agree. If you don't like fantasy points on your team, go get rid of Brees Hall.
Well, I'd rather get a running back that scores more fantasy points than Brees Hall. I'm getting rid of him because I like fantasy points.
Yeah, so I'm
concerned with his reception.
Guy that likes to get more fantasy points, and Brees Hall that's going to have less stacked boxes now. So give me Brees Hall.
I mean, that's not the concern. It's the reception total that's the concern for me. I don't care about his rushing efficiency. We'll find out though. Maybe the passing volume is much higher than it's ever been with Justin Fields, but I'm skeptical of that. Rahul, what do you think of this trade?
I'm probably the number one Brees Hall hater in this room.
I'm pushing close, so
yeah. But I mean, it's hard. It's hard to if you really like think about it on paper. Like Judkins, you probably should not discount him more than a 6-game suspension at some point in the next 1 to 2 years. Most likely is what's going to happen. The one caveat I would say is like the whole NFL second round contract standoff right now. As Judkins does not have a contract right now, I don't know how that's really going to affect things, but like the most I can really predict is that he's just going to have a six-game suspension. End of the day, like the profile of Judkins as an elite RAS score, high drafted running back, that's always going to be a smart shot to take in Dynasty. Could you have gone?
That's what Brees Hall was, right? A high second drafted running back for the high RAS score, right?
I almost don't even care about like the players really involved because I don't like Brees Hall. But yeah, now I don't really like Quinshon Judkins because of this whole situation. It's not even about like the players, just like the profiles you like put in there. I think Jamie, you might have said it was an early 26 first. Correct me if wrong, but early 26 first, and Algier call it like a late 26. Oh, sorry, a second, early second, and then maybe a late second. Yeah, so I think it's fine value either way. Like I probably would have had
that team getting Hall. As much as I will agree with Jamie, Hall's probably going to outscore Judkins at fantasy points. So does this help them get better? That pick isn't necessarily the 202. Brees Hall helps move that pick closer to a mid-second.
Yeah, I mean, I probably will go with the Hall side. because it looks like this court proceeding is going very quickly to where like a lot of people think Judkins is going to be suspended this year.
No, it's going to be next.
Yeah, I doubt that it moves that quickly.
Yeah,
I mean, we'll see. But I mean, if
he gets suspension, because they could settle out of court, and the possibility of that, he won't even get suspended at all.
Well, we don't know he won't get. I mean, the NFL has suspended players when there isn't an actual criminal charge against them, even if things that were settled out of court. I mean, Deshaun Watson never had criminal cases, and he faced a 12-game suspension, right? So they'll do whatever it is best for the NFL, right?
Yeah.
They didn't suspend Ray Rice when the incident happened. They suspended him when the video came out, right? So like this story's out, the NFL feels like they have to do something, and even if it's not this year, there has to be some type of justice.
Like Alvin Kamara a few years ago was in a way worse incident because that one was on video and he only got 3 games. So it's probably not going to be substantial.
Well, yeah, we don't know. I mean, supposedly there's photo evidence of like the injuries. Like that was something I was reading Drew Davenport's Twitter thread. He's great anytime there's anything legal coming up, and he was talking about how what apparently led to the arrest was the fact that her testimony to police, but also the photo evidence she provided to police, and that's what led him to actually be arrested. So it seems like this isn't nothing. I will say, like it seems like something did happen.
I could punch my thigh and take a picture of it and say my neighbor hit me.
Okay, but
even though I had no contact with him, and I can get him arrested, right?
I mean, clearly there was enough case, not just from the photo evidence, but from either her testimony and witnesses to say that something happened.
Let the court handle it. It's going to take at least 7 to 8 months at the earliest.
I would say, even if this is going to probably dip his price, I don't really have much interest in buying Judkins.
I'm buying the dip on him because he is going to play this year. He's not going to be affected by it because we're still waiting on Jordan Addison's suspension that happened.
And I mean, the trial finally started, it seems like, with Addison, right?
Yeah.
That's a year later. So to that point, it probably will take time.
Play out. Don't worry about in Dynasty. This is a Dynasty show. 6 games at the most.
But it's not just 6 games. Like suddenly now he's far less of a movable asset than he was before. Right? Like there's going to be some people that just will never buy.
If he does it again, it could be an inevitable suspension.
Well, that's the thing. If he does it again, he's probably your asset's dead. He's probably out of the league and start playing again. But like right now, there might be some people that they're already taking the stance. I will never roster Judkins. So like if you have Judkins and you want to trade him, there might already be 3-4 teams that are completely shut off that like won't even entertain any discussion of trading for him. And then you have
what if there's a situation where this never happened and she's lying just to get money?
I mean, it seemed like that's what happened with Xavier Worthy, and that seemed very evident quickly that was the case. Based on how this is
is only a week old, man. So we're still new on this.
I know. So but I'm just saying, based on what was in
we can. I don't want to go down that route. Let's let it play out.
This has already been too hot of an episode with Dynasty Tinder. We don't want to get burned here. You know how you won't get burned? With the F6P All Access membership. Available on the Fantasy Six Pack website. It's access to the premium content for Fantasy Six Pack. And we have a promo code F6P Pods. F6P PODS. All letters capitalized and the Arabic numeral 6.
Not VI.
But yes, did you guys enjoy playing Dynasty Tinder?
Dude, I love this, man. We need to do this more often.
Yeah.
This could be something that we maybe revisit in season, but certainly try next off season a couple times as well. So that's not looking too far in the future after all. Maybe Jamie is, but so swipe right on the episode concept, guys.
Swipe right all the time.
And then whether you found a soulmate or just another bench warmer with a commitment issue, like just remember, in Dynasty, love is blind, but trades are forever.
Okay, that is true. That saying will exist forever, apparently. Well, it's being recorded now. You can also check out fantrax.com/fancy6pack for our Fancy Six Pack partnership with Fantrax. Be sure to subscribe, rate and review on the podcast audio episodes. But if you're joining us on YouTube, subscribe here on the YouTube channel. Put comments in the live chat with us when we're here live Wednesdays at 9:30 p.m. Eastern, or even under the video after the fact as well. Love interacting there. We'll sometimes pull trade of the week from our YouTube comments. So if you want to get your trade featured as trade of the week, you can reach out to us. Our Twitter handles at Senra Says, at SmallTalkFF for Rahul, and at Jamie Perog. Any final messages for our Dynasty Tinder episode, guys?
Swipe right on Dynasty Six Pack. Join us next week.
We'll be
swipe right on me, and I will give you the best advice in the world.
Yes, you're fantastic, Jamie. Love these discussions, and we'll lay the hammer down next week on an episode called Fantasy Court. That'll be our next episode of Dynasty Six Pack. Goodbye for now, everyone. We'll see you next week.